Hello everybody, it's Candy here and welcome back to my channel. You will have to forgive the lighting. It's late at night, it's half term, the kids are all off school and I haven't had a second to film anything, so I've waited till they've gone to bed. In fact, I can hear footsteps upstairs as we speak. Anyway, it's very late and I wanted to share with you today a really exciting new project that I've started, and today I wanted to share this. This is my very first grimoire or book of shadows. Now, what is a grimoire or book of shadows? You hear the two terms kind of mixed up quite a bit, but basically it's a witch's journal, a place to document magic and spells and ritual used by witches and Wiccan, and it's a place to document all your learnings on this spiritual path. Now, this is a new path for me. I've got no idea where it's going. All I know at the minute is that it feels like I've come home. It's just amazing. Everything I've learnt so far is just another tick in the box, and I am absolutely loving it. I feel reconnected to myself. I feel reconnected to nature. I feel reconnected to my power. It's a real rewilding of my soul. That's the only way I can describe it. So I'm absolutely loving it. I'm reading and watching everything I can. And there's so much to learn, which is where this book comes in, the Grimoire, the Book of Shadows. Now, a grimoire is slightly less personal than a Book of Shadows, but both basically hold the same sort of information. It's basically all your learnings, all your practices, all your spell work. It's your journal of your practice, basically. The grimoire, like I said, is less individualised. It's more your basic knowledge. And your Book of Shadows becomes slightly more personal. It's things that you've tried, written just basically for an individual witch rather than something that could be passed around. It's often viewed as highly personal, and a lot of people don't feel that they should be shown, but then other people are completely fine sharing their Book of Shadows. So it's completely personal for you, and that's how I feel about it as well. I think, you know, whatever floats your boat is the thing that you should be doing. So I have started this last couple of weeks. I have just done the cover so far, but I wanted to share with you today the making of that cover, because the book itself was a massive stumbling block to me for a while, because I decided I wanted to do this Book of Shadows. It was going to be amazing. It needed to be an amazing book. So I started looking for a book to buy. And all I kept thinking was, I'm an artist. I want to make my own book. I want to adapt a book. I want to get a second-hand book and change it. But then I kept worrying, thinking, well, is this the right thing to do? This isn't what people do. People buy an amazing leather-bound book. They don't create their own. And might I be getting odd energies if I get a second-hand book? Am I doing something wrong? But then I stumbled across an amazing channel by an art witch called Molly Roberts, and I will link her channel down below if I can work out how to do that. She is a wonderful, creative, colourful rainbow soul, and I had never heard the term art witch before. Just art witch, it just resonates with me completely. So thank you, Molly, and thank you for your beautiful, colourful, adapted, painted on uniquely wondrous grimoire that you shared, which is the first video I watched of yours, which is basically my green light to stop second guessing myself and to do what felt right. So that's what I want to share with you today. I want to share with you me making the cover of my first grimoire and doing what felt right, making it personal, putting on their symbols that really meant something just to me, putting on shapes and colours and textures and images that reflected everything I am and everything I want this book to be. And I hope that watching it will inspire somebody out there who's a newbie like me too, to just turn the red light off and to put the green light on and just go for it. I have no other knowledge yet apart from that. I'm no expert in anything. I am, the pages are empty, that says it all. But if I can just encourage somebody just to go for it and to be somebody else's green light, to step onto the art witch path, then good, that's what I want. So I will pass you back to a very glue covered me of the previous week and share with you the making of my first Book of Shadows or grimoire. Okay, I hope you enjoy it. Here's the second-hand book that I decided would be absolutely perfect for using to make my grimoire or Book of Shadows from. I absolutely adored the title, Havens of the Wild, because for me this new spiritual path that I'm exploring is about reconnecting to nature. It's about reconnecting to wild instincts, our gut instincts. It's about rewilding the soul. There are many aspects of my life that are following the same path at the moment, and the title just spoke volumes to me. I bought this book years ago and it's just been tucked away, and I knew it would be the right size and shape, and when I saw the title and was reminded of the title again, it just was perfect. I initially thought I might paint the cover, which is why you can see me putting gesso on it here, but I changed my mind. It dried overnight and I decided that I wanted to explore some texture on it instead, and I had this lovely gold paper and that was calling to be used on it. Loads of tissue paper as well. I went for the blues and the golds and the greens, just trying to explore some of the colours that you sometimes see in valuable old manuscripts. Here I'm just playing, just generally covering the book and having a great time. I then started having a little look around the art studio for other bits and pieces that I could add to the cover that actually meant something. These were pieces that I built onto the children's old jigsaw puzzles, all with some pertinent symbolism for me. So I put those out to use. I then went rooting through, as you can see, my rather extensive collection of paper napkins and serviettes that I love to collect. This one immediately jumped out at me, the Queen herself, Frida Kahlo. There's some Mexican Day of the Dead serviettes in there, which also jumped out at me. I decided that I wanted to add some of these tissue layers along with the other paperwork that I'd done on the book. So I had a good old route through. That I considered for a while. The idea of exploring down the rabbit holes appealed. So Alice very nearly made it onto the cover. But I was being called back to some other ones, nature, because nature's going to be a big part of my practice. All these ones with nature started to jump out, as well as did that second Frida napkin. But I went back initially to this one, the sugar skulls. I loved that, with that very first one that jumped out when I opened the box. So I knew that the cover would feature these two images as well as the jigsaw pieces that I'd made a while ago. I love the fact that Frida gets to feature on the front of the grimoire. She's a really important symbol for me of how using art and creativity can overcome hardship, and it's a really important form of expression. As with the circular metal hoop on the front as well, the circle for me is about hope and understanding that the circle always rolls around in hard times. And I have a circle tattoo on my wrist to remind me of that. Also, it's going to become the start of a pentacle. Here I'm adding some amazing pink fur that I really needed to use on the spine. I think that's just a reflection of my name being Candy. I wanted some obscenely girly pink stuff in there somewhere, so the fur kind of did it for me. And of course the braiding down the edge stops the fur from fraying. I really loved the shape that the two jigsaw pieces made once I'd put them in place on the front cover of the grimoire. For me, that shape down the centre reminded me of female ovaries, the womb, and because this journey for me is very much about female power, I wanted to play on that idea. So you can see me adding the thin strips of red thread to kind of indicate female power, motherhood, and to reflect that. Also the squares on top of the jigsaw pieces. The square for me, I've used that on repeat throughout my artwork, and it's to do with protection. It represents protection for me, which was great on the front of a book of shadows. Also the idea of protection of my family, and again tying into that idea of motherhood. And again on the back cover you can see me applying the 3 hoops. Each of those represent each of my children. I have 3 children, so they feature very strongly. You can see I've added an old second-hand choker as well, which has got dried flowers pressed into it. That I wanted nature to be represented somewhere. I've got the 3 flowers on the back that you see there. Again, those are representing my children. And you can see I've added wire to the circle to represent the pentacle. So here it is finished. This is the front cover. You can see on the handle, which is the jigsaw piece sticking out, I've added a little nest again to represent family. I've got symbolism for the protection in there, for it being a creative path that's full of art. There is symbolism on there for female power and for motherhood. There is the protective symbol of the pentacle. You've got the fur down the spine, which is representative of my name and that fact that I love all things pink. There's the symbolism for my 3 children, because hopefully this will be a book that will be passed on to my kids. So that's a really important aspect for me. I don't think I can take the fact that I'm a mother out of this spiritual journey, and I wouldn't want to do that. You can see I painted over some of the glue with gold ink and added bits of gold. The glue work over the choker as well was to represent the sun. So I was really happy in the end with how it turned out. It had within it all the symbolism that I wanted to have within it, all the things that were pertinent to me. I just really loved piecing it all together. So there it is, guys. There's the final front cover of my grimoire or book of shadows. Can't wait to start filling it in and sharing with you some of the journey, and I hope you guys enjoyed it and enjoyed my ramblings, and I hope you followed along. So thanks for joining me, and I will see you next time.